and good evening. It is August 13th, 2024, 6:30 p.m. Central, on the dot, actually. 7:30 Eastern, it is 4:30 California time. The Worldview Financial Report with the Bad News Bears, Wes Petes and Michael Weiner. And I hope you're doing well tonight yourselves, listening friends. We're going to talk a little about this. U.S. accidentally gave $239 million to the Taliban since disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. We can talk about this. $35 trillion U.S. debt is now the biggest short, according to macro guru Luke Goldman, and he explains why. Stuart Varney says Kamala Harris wants to quietly add to our nation's tsunami of debt. A federal fiscal burden consumes 93% of America's wealth. U.S. second biggest July deficit, U.S. records second biggest July deficit in history, as 25% of tax revenues go to pay the interest. A consumer credit card debt hits all-time high of $1.14 trillion, whacked by a financial 2x4. We'll talk about what that is all about. Paramount begins laying off 15% of workforce. Hundreds expected to be cut, and I think that's it. All right, joining me is the Bad News Bears, Michael Weiner, Wes Petes of Swiss America. And if you want a free packet, no obligation, packet of information, all you have to do is text Wes at 602-558-8585. Just text him over that you want that free packet, and he'll send it over to you, no obligation at all. 602-558-8585. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for being here.
Good evening, Brannon.
Hey, good evening, Brandon. How are you?
I'm better than I was the night before. I finally got some sleep after that.
How's the puppy doing?
Yeah, the puppy. You want to go to a wide shot? She's actually in the kennel to my left. There she is, right there, and they're sawing logs. She's sawing logs. I wore her out. She's had a busy day in the studio here, and then running around, learning how to be potty trained and fetching. I've never had a puppy that would fetch the tennis ball and bring it back this quickly. I mean, this dog was in her DNA, of course, but wow-wee. So she's worn out and got her tired so we can get through this broadcast with a quiet puppy. So she's doing good. Thanks for asking. Are you still in Colorado, Wes?
I am.
Are you just on perpetual summer vacation, or are you going home soon?
Going home, going to drive home Sunday.
Michael loves that when I do that too, doesn't he, Wes?
And Monday.
Huh?
I'll be back in the office Monday afternoon, back in my comfort zone where everything's normal.
Why? You want to say something about what's going on in Colorado at your daughter's house?
No, just like, you're used to your system that you have, and I've just got this little bitty laptop, and it's not quite the same as my 3 big monitors that I have at home.
Yeah, that's right. All right. How far is the drive from there back to where you live?
Well, it's 11 and a half, 12 hours, roughly.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a drive. All right. Well, good. Be safe. Be safe on those crazy roads. All right. Yeah. Let's go to the first article today, which is actually a clip where it's about the U.S. accidentally giving $239 million to the Taliban. Listen to this, my friends.
And well, a new U.S. report reveals that the U.S. State Department might have accidentally funneled at least $239 million to the Taliban since the 2021 withdrawal of its troops from Afghanistan. The U.S. Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, also called SIGA, found significant lapses in compliance with partner vetting requirements by the State Department. It also said 2 of the 5 State Department bureaus that were sending money to Afghanistan failed to properly vet non-profit organizations. The 2 departments in question are the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, and the Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs. The $239 million excludes the military equipment, including Humvees and Black Hawk helicopters worth $7 billion that the U.S. military left behind in Afghanistan.
Yeah, so we've given them $7 billion in helicopters and military equipment. Now, I guess a little tip. Here's $239 million, which everybody keeps telling us is an accident. That's a bold-faced lie. Why don't they just come clean? Why don't they just come clean and say, we did it on purpose, we hate America, we fund terrorism, we've opened the borders, and we fund the terrorists, and we've paid them to carry out terrorist attacks in the U.S. So everybody be on the alert. The federal government has paid millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist organizations to carry out terrorist attacks on U.S. assets and targets around the globe, and they will soon begin here in the U.S. Compliments of the payments made by the U.S. federal government to their partners, the red-green axis, the red being the Marxist, the green being the Islamist, $239 million if they do a really good job. There may even be a bonus depending on how many Americans they are able to take out and help decrease the American population. I don't buy it for 1 minute. You're former military, Wes. I don't buy it for 1 minute. This is the federal government arming and paying who they want to bring down America and attack American assets around the globe. There's no way this was by mistake.
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, we left all of those vehicles and equipment over there for them, and now the Taliban they're on the payroll. You're exactly right. The United States is paying the Taliban. They're also paying them off to try and keep order over there in Afghanistan. Like they're really gonna do that. So again, it's just incompetent. They're totally incompetent across the board. I mean, here our country is flat broke, and we're sending all this money, it's all this money to service our debt. And we just spoke last night about what was it, $1 billion in Social Security and improper Social Security payments. So we've got these people in Washington, D.C. that are filtering, wasting money. It's corruption at the highest level.
Let me ask you this, Wes. Wes, has the government ever mistakenly sent you $100,000?
No.
Michael, has the government ever mistakenly sent you $100,000?
I'm keeping my fingers crossed every day. I mean, but at the same time, in all these centuries, Brannon, it's not happened.
No,
So,
but they somehow sent $239 million to the Taliban and $1.1 billion in wrong payments for Social Security. How come we hear that? I don't buy those numbers either. I think that's garbage. I think that's just $1.1 billion that was funneled somewhere. They're labeling it as payments to people. Again, I think this is payments going somewhere, draining the Treasury, going to certain people. I mean, have you heard anyone coming forward saying, yeah, last year I got $10,000, $20,000 from the Social Security Administration I was supposed to get? How many Americans have come forward to tell this story on social media? Have you heard of anybody?
never heard of us.
No.
Well, wouldn't you think if the government gave away $1.1 billion by mistake, we'd be hearing? My parents got, I managed my parents' affairs. Let's say it's someone on social media. I managed my parents' affairs. They gotten older, and all of a sudden I started getting thousands of dollars in the mail for Social Security that we weren't supposed to be getting. Is anyone else having this issue? Isn't it interesting? $1.1 billion has been given away, but I haven't heard any report on any social media people saying anything like this. I think that's a bold-faced lie as well. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And Brannon, there's a new term for foreign aid. It's called money laundering. Look at the pallets of cash that Obama sent over to Iran. It's we're supplying and paying our enemies who are going, like you said, to be attacking us here shortly. I'm just curious how many sleeper cells there are across the United States and all the major cities that 4 to 6 people could do significant damage in any city across the country. And our southern border has been wide open all of these years, and we've funded the next attack that's coming to our shores. Absolutely.
Well, we showed the map last week of terrorist training camps, if I can find it again real quick. And we asked Dave Gobbets if it was legit. He said absolutely it was legit. Let me see if I can put this in. And he said he'd been to some of them. This is a guy, of course, who went undercover in about 425 mosques in America. But he said the map that we showed last week was 100% legit, showing all of the terrorist training camps. Here they are. All of the terrorist training camps across the U.S. He said that map is 100% accurate. He's actually been to some of them. So terror cells, absolutely. Terrorist training camps, confirmed by Dave Gobbets, who is a former federal agent and who has penetrated undercover 425 mosques in America and has visited some of these locations. So yes, who do you think this money's going to? I think we have figured out at least a percentage of it.
Yeah.
All right, next story on the list. 35 trillion U.S. debt is now the biggest short, according to the macro guru Luke Gromen. What does he mean by the biggest short, Wes? What does he mean by that?
Well, the U.S. national debt's increased by $677 billion in just 3 months, rising from $33.896 trillion on December 27th of 2023 to $34.573 trillion by March 27th of 2024. This significant increase in the debt has prompted warnings from BlackRock CEO, who expressed concerns about the urgency and severity of the situation, stating that it's more critical than he can ever remember. Again, debt is the thief of wealth. All of our long-term, I got another article in here, Brannon, about, we talk about $35 trillion of debt, how that's really not what it is. We have another article this evening that really breaks it down if you look at all the liabilities. So this is unsustainable. It's just, when are they going to stop printing money and transition to a new currency and revalue everything is the big question, because we can't stay down this path unless they just plan on printing money forever.
Which article is it you're referring to? We should just do that one now. Which one is it?
Let me find it here.
That's not all short is, by the way, too, on this. What he's talking about is a short of the U.S. dollar. Okay, we've talked about it consistently. The short of this whole situation is the U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar collapses. That's a natural short in this type of an environment. That's pretty much saying that as the economy goes down the tank and we go down with debt, the U.S. dollar collapses, which is a natural short. A short's betting on something going down. The U.S. dollar, we've been talking about it consistently on the show, Wes and I, for months, is in trouble. The only one who paid attention to it was Trump, and it's getting worse now with the petrodollar gone, and now with the situation with the lower interest rate.
Did we just lose Michael? All right, let's go back to Wes. Wes, what article was the next one you wanted to go to?
Federal fiscal burden consumes 93% of consumers.
There you go. I already had it up. I assume that was it. There it is. Federal fiscal burden consumes 93% of America's wealth. Based on data from the U.S. Treasury report, the federal government has amassed $142 trillion in debts, liabilities, and unfunded obligations. So much for this 35 trillion. You and I both know it's over 200 trillion if they really were being honest.
Correct. If you take everything into account exactly, and the way that breaks down, Brannon, is that's approximately $430,252 per person here in the United States, or just shy of $1.1 million per household. If you take that actual 142 trillion liability into mind, that's what the total is per household, over $1 million.
Gosh. All right, let's go back here. Let's go to this one. Stuart Varney. Kamala Harris wants to quietly add to our nation's tsunami. Let's see what Stuart had to say here. All right. No audio on Stuart? You ready for it? Let's see I don't know if he's saying anything. Yep, there we go.
No one wants to talk about debt. It really is a turn-off. The red ink has been rising tide for some time, but we've ignored it. I'm talking about our government's debt. The red ink is now a tsunami, which is actually likely to get worse. In the last 10 months, the deficit totaled $1.52 trillion. In plain English, we spent $1.5 trillion more than we took in. Astonishing. It really should not be like this. When the economy is growing and unemployment is low, the red ink should be shrinking, but it's not. It's growing. At the end of the fiscal year, that's September the 30th, we will have borrowed another $250 billion in just 7 weeks. Nobody's talking about it, least of all the Harris campaign. They have some responsibility for the wild spending that is making things worse, and they want more spending. She wants affordable health care. Well, you know what that means. Huge subsidies with taxpayer money. She wants affordable childcare. Really? It's only affordable if the government pays for it. She's all for the Green New Deal. Oh, there goes another trillion or 3 of your taxpayer dollars. Harris says she will announce her economic plan soon. Will she flip-flop on debt the way she's flip-flopped on the border and fracking? She'll take no responsibility, and she will claim that higher taxes will fix the deficit problem. Wrong again. Higher taxes will slow the economy, and we'll be borrowing even more. And under no circumstances will she cut spending. Democrats don't do that. Our debt is exploding, and we are shrugging our shoulders. It won't matter until it does.
Yeah, it won't matter until it does. And when it does, what is that going to look like, Michael Weiner? What is that going to look like when this finally hits? What is all of this going to look like? How is it going to go down with a whimper? Just be
You see all the suburban housewives who drive up with their Escalades to getting gas, coming up in a scooter. You're going to see people who have been spending money like drunken sailors, not being able to spend money like drunken sailors. They're trying to do it. Some of them right now, and I told you, in the middle class or the upper middle class, are running their credit cards up, just assuming they're going to win the lottery. I told you before that you're going to have people 5 years from now who are retired are going to go back to work. It's going to be a disaster. And the point is that just today, a guy from Fox got to our dear friend Joe Biden, and he asked Joe Biden, is Kamala as far as to the left that everybody thinks she is? Who the heck is he asking that of? The guy who's the worst lefty that we ever had as a president, asking her if she's more left? Even if she's the same as him, it's a disaster. But she's not. She is going to say and do whatever it takes to get in office. Debt will be, but they will not. No Democrat's going to stop spending. They have no responsibility. They will continue it, and they will bury us with it, and it'll travel up the food chain. But it won't affect them. Just like in Russia, you had the Politburo, now it's called the oligarchy, and all the rest of them. They're all left alone, like the Pelosi's and them. They'll be fine. But all you people who think you're well-to-do and you're retired and you're not going back to work and you're all set, got news for you. Start clipping food stamps, okay? Get ready, because it's going to be intense, quickly.
Okay, so what do you make of that, Wes? What do you think things will look like when it finally all goes down? What is that going to look like?
Well, I think the end game, Brannon, is what we've talked about before: control. They want to be able to control everyone. What better way to control people than do you want your check this month or not? If you want your check from the federal government, who's here to take care of you, then you need to follow our guidelines. And COVID was an initial test of things, the lockdowns. Let's see how far we can push these people and see what they will obey and follow. And I think that's where we're heading. Is they don't want a middle class. They're going to be the elites who are in Washington, the wealthy, and then they're going to be everybody else, the people that are relying on the federal government to take care of them. Health insurance already. I mean, I pay $1,800 a month for health insurance for a family of four. $1,800 a month, and then you still go and you have all these co-pays and out-of-pocket costs. You look at what they're doing to our supply chain as far as food. They're trying to do away with real meat, and you're going to eat the slab meat. It's coming down to control, and the way they're going to control people is: do you want your check this month or not? If so, you're going to do as you're told, and that's how they want it. And they're not really making any secrets about it. I mean, that's where we're heading at this point, unless there are drastic changes in this country.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So you both agree as usual, per usual. All right. Let's go with this. U.S. record second biggest July deficit in history, as 25% of tax revenue goes to pay the interest. Why don't you take that one first, Wes?
So in July 2024, the U.S. recorded largest budget deficit, as you just said, amounting to $24.37 billion, primarily due to government spending of $573 billion, far exceeding tax revenue. So they spent $573 billion, and they only brought in $330 billion. And we've got 2 months left in the fiscal year. The total deficit for 2024 has reached $1.57 trillion, basically the same as last year. So again, we're running deficits every year because Washington, they're out of control spending. Our country has never had a revenue problem. Nearly every year is a record for tax revenue, money they generate. They have always had and will continue to always have a spending problem. It's never enough. They just $1 billion in misappropriated funds for Social Security. We're sending money to the Taliban. The accounting system of the branch of the federal government is, again, it has to be on purpose. I mean, they can't be that dumb. So we've got a bunch of idiots that have the wrong, purpose in mind. Rather than America first and helping the American family, they're squandering away our tax revenue. I honestly wish, Brannon, everybody would say enough is enough, and everybody decide to stop paying. Now, for the record, I'm not saying anybody do this. I don't want to go to jail, but I wish that everybody in this country would stop paying their taxes. They can't throw everybody in jail.
Well, I'm sure you're saying what millions upon millions of Americans are thinking. I mean, you think about what the Boston Tea Party was really all about. And Michael, we're so far past the Boston Tea Party. As we've already said, they're giving millions, billions, literally billions of dollars to the Taliban when you figure in the weaponry they left them, billions of dollars to Iran, billions of dollars to Islamic countries in, quote, foreign aid. Every time we turn around, you and I and the listening audience gets up every day. We obey the rules, we obey the laws, we pay our taxes, and we're paying for our money to just be given away to groups that actually, at the end of the day, want us eliminated from the face of the earth. I mean, at what point? We have an open border. The federal government is not doing what they were created to do. And in fact, they're going against the 10 Bill of Rights, which were supposed to be 10 handcuffs on the central government so that, we have certain inalienable rights. The federal government can't touch these. Through the crooks in various courts, they've taken those, they've used the gymnastics of the 14th Amendment to take those 10 handcuffs off the states, off the federal government, and put them on the states. So again, the sad thing is the American people, I think, have been educated into slavery, and they don't even know they're slaves. Michael?
This goes back to the foundation of our nation. I mean, we're going into this. Donald Trump, when he was president, cut taxes, which they're going to get rid of. They will not go with Trump's tax bill. People don't realize that inheritance and everything else will be down the toilet. But additionally, when you look at what's going on here right now, when you talk about ledgers, I said it the other day, taxes that Donald Trump had were based on business. We made so much money in tax revenue, it helped to go against the debt. And that's what helped us. And that's what Trump's plan is, to get out of debt by winning, which is a great idea. The biggest problem that we have is we have to stop the printing presses, which we have not done. In 1776, they threw the tea over the side of the boat because of taxation without representation. They also came back a couple days later and paid for it. They were honorable people. When they set up this country, they set us up under the gold standard to set up a federal ledger, making sure that the government could not spend more money than they had gold in Fort Knox. Now they have done that. And they do that without any equivocation. They just go right ahead and keep spending that money. They don't care. It doesn't exist. It's only paper, but it does exist. And we're spending away our future, our children's future, our grandchildren's future. And the future that we will hold will be dark and bleak. It'll be like Russia, where they lined up to get bread. People don't get it. And again, we went off the gold standard. Probably the worst job you could have as a lawyer was a bankruptcy lawyer. It's like being a whirlpool repairman. It's going to be the greatest job in the world. These guys are going to make a fortune with all these people with this credit card debt. Watch what comes next. Bankruptcies. This is just the beginning of all of this. The reality is this debt is not only, as Wes said, unsustainable, but it goes against us. And the only reason the American people have only one chance to stand up. I don't see us getting all together and not paying our taxes. That would be wonderful, but it's the pipe dream. If people make the right vote, and if they don't make the right vote, then this country and our ability to withstand another 4 years like this is unsustainable. At the end of the day, this country will be in an abyss.
Let's go to this one. Paramount begins laying off 15% of workforce. Hundreds expected to be cut. Is this Paramount as in the movie? The movie? Yeah, Paramount. Wow.
Correct.
So let me get this right. The industry is losing jobs, not selling tickets, not making profits like they should, and yet these idiots are doing fundraisers for Joe Biden, which again shows you the average actor is an idiot. They They don't know real life. They don't, they don't run a business. They get paid to stand there and to spew lines at a camera. Some of them be very good actors, but these are not smart people. They don't know what it takes to run a business. And yet here's Paramount, laying off people. Yep. I wonder why. Do these people understand why it is? Do the idiots at Paramount even understand why it is they're having to lay off people? Because they have supported and funded Marxist policies, and now they wonder why they're having to lay off people. And I hope they go belly up. I hope all of the media people, go out of business. They deserve to go out of business and suffer the consequences of the Marxism they so love. Other than the fine people watching us who live in California, I would like to see California just go belly up so that we can say this is what happens when you follow this process. But again, I don't want to see the fine people that watch our program who live in California suffer. But these people need to suffer the consequences of embracing their Marxist ideology, right, Wes?
Absolutely, you're exactly right. And what's very frustrating and hard to understand, Brannon, is Gavin Newsom has destroyed the state of California. He's not done yet, but he's done a great job. But the shocking thing is, if he were running for president right now, he would be giving Trump a run for his money, just like Kamala is, due to the way the system is with the media. I wish people would look at these politicians, what they've done. Because Gavin Newsom is a perfect example of someone that has taken a state and destroyed it with all their policies and regulations. But again, if he were running today against Trump, I think it would be a dogfight, just because he's a popular guy for some reason. It's a popularity contest, and these actors and people in Hollywood and all these big donors get behind these politicians and just feed the machine with all these millions and millions of dollars for their campaign. And that's what it comes down to, unfortunately, is a big popularity contest. Who's going to spend the most money rather than, who's going to do what's best for our country. And that's where we just need to change things and everybody get to the ballot box. I don't know if you want to play it or not, but I have one of Trump's commercials in there where it's Ronald Reagan flashback to when he was running. Carter was in office and inflation was just as bad, if not worse than it is today. But I came across that commercial, that ad today, and I was like, wow, here we are again today.
Here we are again today. Yeah, let this hideous commercial roll by for Walz and Kamala, and then we'll play it. And we'll be dealing with him tonight on our broadcast as well. You know what? You sent me the wrong link. The link that comes up is the $239 trillion sent to the Taliban.
Right. All right. I'll get it to you tomorrow or something.
Let me put it in. Let me put it in. And now you got the curiosity of the audience up. Let me put it into YouTube myself. See what pops up here. Hang on, guys. Let's see what I get. 2024 campaign, are you better off? I don't know if this is the one you're talking about, but we'll try it.
That should be it.
All right, let me let this ad pass. All right, is that the ad, Reagan? Yeah, I think it is, Reagan. I'm asking Reagan about the Reagan ad. Isn't that funny? All right, here we go. Let's try this. Roll this one. Here we go.
This is the Jim Heath Channel playlist of 2024 campaign ads.
Please welcome President Ronald Reagan, who has a few questions for you.
All of you will go to the polls, will stand there in the polling place and make a decision. I think when you make that decision, it might be well if you would ask yourself, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier for you to go and buy things in the stores than it was 4 years ago? Is there more or less unemployment in the country than there was 4 years ago? Is America as respected throughout the world as it was? Do you feel that our security is as safe, that we're as strong as we were 4 years ago? If you don't think that this course that we've been on for the last 4 years is what you would like to see us follow for the next 4, then I could suggest another choice that you have.
President Trump. He'll make America great again.
Well, there you go. Great. I remember that. Are you better off 4 years? I remember that. But I guess all of us do that are old enough to have been alive in adult age or younger to recall that memory, but I certainly do. Great ad. You want to get the free packet of information by Swiss America Wes Petes, just text him 602-558-8585. He'll send you the no obligation packet of information on how to get precious metals, either bullion or numismatic, 1933 and older, that provides privacy. Or you can find out about how to put gold into your IRA. Again, all you got to do is text Wes at 602-558-8585, and he'll get that out to you. I know he's been working from Colorado, so don't worry, folks. He's been sending it all back to Michael, and Michael's been running down to the mailroom, getting it all out to you. 602-558-8585. No, Michael wouldn't do that. But Michael's got people to do it. 602-558-8585. Thanks for watching, folks. Take care.